Leaders, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of CRD, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of you, especially in such a special context with COVID risks. I thank you for coming to Haikou to attend this forum. I know many of you have overcome a lot of difficulties to come to this forum to study the challenges and opportunities faced by China and the world after the 20th National Party Congress. On behalf of the organizers, I'd like to thank you all for your effort. Our conference has also been supported by different sectors and circles. Participants from 17 provinces and SEZs, and also altogether over 500 people will attend today's sub-venues. This meeting is co-organized by CRD, Bank of China, China Daily, and the China Public Diplomacy Association in 4 consecutive years. I believe with your support, this forum will generate widespread impact. China Daily, China Forum, together with many other media organizations. Our forum has also been supported by Hainan provincial government. Last night, Governor Feng Fei met with some of the participants. Today, Vice Governor Wang Bin is here to address the opening ceremony on behalf of the Hainan provincial government. Now I will give the floor to Vice Governor Wang Bin. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, 1 week ago, the 20th National Party Congress was concluded. This meeting is of a great importance for the further development of China and also the realization of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Guided by the spirit of the 20th National Party Congress, we hold today's forum. This is a very timely event and of a great significance. On behalf of Governor Feng Fei, on behalf of the Hainan provincial government, I'd like to congratulate on the successful opening of today's forum and also to extend a warm welcome to all the guests here in this meeting room and also online. The resolution of the 20th National Party Congress pointed out that the changes of the whole world is unfolding in all aspects. Faced with the challenges, China has adhered to reform and opening up and followed the mutually beneficial cooperation policy and model, providing opportunities to the whole world, contributing to the development of the open world economy. The resolution mentioned Hainan Free Trade Port twice. This emphasizes China's commitment to further opening and embracing globalization. In the past 2 years, we have seen significant progress in the development of Hainan Free Trade Port. This has also been recognized by President Xi Jinping. Hainan has also gained support from much of the world. In spite of the shocks, the trade of goods and services of Hainan increased by 14.3% and 19.3% respectively. In the next years will be a crucial period of Hainan development. We will implement the central policy and lead the development onto an irreversible track to provide the Hainan model to the whole country and also to provide more favorable policies and more opportunities to the global investors. We follow a new development approach. Hainan connects the domestic and international markets. We will attract more high-quality foreign enterprises, especially from the ASEAN region, and to bring the role of outbound investment and also build regional supply chain and integration in industry chain, and to better align China's development with the development of the ASEAN nations. We need to carry out high-level pressure test or stress test. We need to get prepared for the independent operation of Hainan as a separate customs zone. So we will make sure the testing of most of the policies before the ring fencing of Hainan. We need to further study the reduction of the taxes. So Hainan is a pioneer will win advantages. Opportunities also lies in the exploration of new economic systems. We will be committed to introducing the highest level opening and carry out piloting and also refer to CPPCC and also the opening in terms of system mechanisms to make Hainan at the forefront of China's connection with the rest of the world. Today's forum features the theme of coping with the challenges and grasping opportunities is in line with the spirit of the 20th National Party Congress. I sincerely hope to hear from you insights about the development of China and the world, as well as facilitate the development of Hainan as a free trade port with Chinese characteristics. I finally wish this forum a full success. Thank you.
So many thanks to Mr. Wang Bin, and also we quite appreciate the great support from the Hainan provincial government. And our next speaker is Mr. Qu Yingpu, publisher and editor-in-chief from China Daily. Distinguished leaders and guests, good morning. It's a pity that I cannot go to Hainan to join you. And here, on behalf of China Daily, I'd like to extend my warm welcome and heartfelt thanks to all the guests and friends present. So on 22nd October, the 20th CPC National Congress successfully concluded in Beijing. And this Congress has made significant achievements in politics, theory, and practice. It has also mapped out a new journey for the party and the country in this new era. It has also set out the overall objectives by 2035 and the main goals and the tasks for the next 5 years development, and calling for striving in unity to establish a modern socialist country on all fronts, and also to advance the national rejuvenation. So at the Congress, General Secretary Xi Jinping also called for achieving the second centenary goals and also leading the Chinese people to realize the national rejuvenation. So now the word Chinese path to modernization or Chinese modernization drew much attention worldwide. It is also used by foreign media to understand China. And according to the new media lab of China Daily, in just 1 week, and this word, the Chinese modernization, appeared in 1,349 media reports overseas. The story of Chinese paths to modernization is a defining theme of China's development in the new era, and it brings forth a good opportunity for the whole world to understand the Chinese development model. It is an important mission and responsibility of the times for Chinese media and think tanks, including China Daily, to help the world to understand the nature and the significance of Chinese modernization and socialism with Chinese characteristics. Now, I want to talk about some suggestions on how to narrate the Chinese path to modernization. First, take a Chinese perspective to showcase that Chinese path to modernization will continue to create miracles. China has 1.4 billion people, which is larger than the total number of developed countries. And to lead such a huge population to build modernization, so this course is very ambitious and also very difficult and complex than ever. And this requires a very unique development model. So China must take a development path different from that of foreign countries. And through arduous efforts by the CPC and the Chinese people, Marxism was adapted to the Chinese reality and the traditional Chinese culture over time. And this approach has helped China to, to reap a lot of achievements. It has also enabled China to create twin miracles of rapid economic growth and long-term social stability. It has built on the confidence of the Chinese people in pursuing the Chinese dream. Since the 20th CPC National Congress was held, and the China Daily has continued. China Daily has interviewed many prominent foreign politicians and scholars who spoke highly of China's winning the battle against poverty, building a moderately prosperous society in all respects, and opening up the road to Chinese modernization. So, for example, the Soma Bashna, Vice President of the Laos National Assembly, paid tribute to the CPC for remaining true to its original aspiration of serving the people and affirmed the Chinese path to modernization. Second, take a global perspective and clarify that Chinese path to modernization adds certainty to the uncertain world. At present, the profound changes and the pandemic, both unseen in the century, are intertwined, and anti-globalization, unilateralism, and protectionism are on the rise. The world's economic recovery is sluggish, and the global challenges become more acute. In particular, the Russia-Ukraine conflict brings more uncertainty to the world. However, some countries have spared no efforts to engage in trade barriers, technical barriers, small circles, and decoupling, fanning flames everywhere, and making war money, creating obstacles to world peace and development. Against this background, China firmly promotes Chinese paths to modernization, further reform and opening up, and uphold genuine multilateralism, maintains economic globalization, and provides international public goods, such as the Belt and Road Initiative, the Global Development Initiative, the Global Security Initiative, and promotes the building of a better world for all. In addressing the climate change and protecting biodiversity, so some countries, some countries have tried to get rid of their responsibilities. And China is different from them. And China has put forward goals such as carbon picking and carbon neutralization, and also supports the multilateral governance systems of biodiversity, demonstrating the responsibility just for a major country. So according to the World Monetary Fund, a prosperous and stable China will continue to play an important role as a stabilizer and a power source on the world stage. And the third, just look to the future and highlights that Chinese modernization as a new path for the development of human civilization. So as the only uninterrupted Asian civilization in the world, the Chinese civilization has been dynamic through its centuries-old interactions with the major civilizations of the world. It has become vigorous on the path of Chinese modernization, creating a new form of human civilization. And the practice has shown that Chinese modernization is in line with Chinese reality and reflects the laws of building socialism and of human society development. Chinese modernization is a multitasking progress beyond time and space. It provides a solution to many major problems in the development of human society. It has broken the myths of Western centrism and the conflicts of the civilizations. And it enriches the theories on modern socialism and the world modernization and providing more choices for human civilizations to realize to realize their own modernization. So Chinese modernization is achieved just by the hard work and sacrifice of our generations. So it doesn't follow the path of some countries, and that is to make their achieve that is to achieve their modernization just through war, colonialism, plunder. So China actually China always firmly stands on the right side of the history and on the side of the progress of human civilizations. And China's contribution to the world has been widely uh, applauded just by the international community, especially the developing countries. So, for example, just in the poll in Africa, so China's image continues to rise just in the public opinions in those countries and even exceeding the image of the European countries and the United States. And many African countries have put forward the slogan of "Looking to the East." So, distinguished guests, with the leadership of the CPC, with General Secretary Xi Jinping at the core. So China has continued to embark the new journey just for the national rejuvenation. And China will continue to make new contributions to the world. And we hope that just with the support of the journalists from home abroad, and we could tell the true story just about the new developments of China. And and also, I just wish the great success of this conference. So thank you.
Thank you for your speech. I'd like to thank China Daily for the support. Due to the COVID-19, Liu Liange, chairman of Bank of China, is unable to attend the forum. Now, his deputy is assigned to give a speech on his behalf. Dear all, due to the agenda conflict, Chairman Liu is unable to attend today's meeting, so he asked me to express congratulations on today's forum. As one of the organizers, I'd like to thank you and welcome you all for your participation. We are now in an increasingly uncertain world. We face the expanding of the global economy. However, the growth is declining. Next year, about 1/3 of the economies will be in recession. We have increased the production capacity. We have more and various products. However, the cost has been rising. We have excessive liquidity in the market. However, the property price has been dropping. So this shows this kind of a contradiction. We are now seeing the changes in geopolitics. The cooperation between Russia and Europe has been one of the driving forces of the global economy. And also the cooperation between China and the US has also been an important force for global economic growth. However, due to the protectionism adopted by the United States, we have seen the rising costs in production, and also the Russian-Ukraine war has pushed up the energy price. We have followed the specialization of labor or division of labor, but now some countries have advanced the policies of re-attracting the manufacturing force into their own countries, increase the pressure of inflation. So we have also seen the new cyclical features of the financial market. Dollars and euros have tightened, which have heightened the tension and also increased the risks of emerging economies. The changes of the US dollar value and also the interest hikes by the Federal Reserves. This interest rate hikes is faster than previous rounds. So this is also a new indicator of the complexity of the world economies. Now the US dollar is almost equivalent to the euro values, and we have seen the significant appreciation of US value against most of the currencies. So we have seen a more serious financial risks with the increased interest rate hikes. A lot of capital flew into United States. Now, so far, 1.1 trillion US dollars has flown back into the United States. This has created a kind of a crowding out effect and also affected the international financial market. The investment funds and non-banking institutions have borne more risks. The international debt crisis is emerging, and some countries are now facing the critical mass in financial crisis. This year, it's $300 trillion. So this has already marked a new peak in history. 60% of the low-income countries face the debt crisis, and also a lot of developing countries face the same problem. And 250 billion US dollar debt is now in phase of default. Pakistan and altogether 15 countries have formed a kind of a debt union. China has also reacted actively to such a crisis. We will adhere to high quality growth and explore a Chinese path to modernization. China expands the domestic demands and carry out a further reform. We'll maintain a moderate to a high growth of the Chinese economy. China has also tried to narrow its income gap and urban-rural gap, as well as regional disparities. China's domestic development will enable China to further participate into the international cooperation. China's economic growth face increasing external risks. China will remain committed to reform and opening up. Amid the changes, China needs to further reform, and China will further strengthen competition and strengthen regulatory system. China will focus on its own issues and emphasize the role of food, energy, and to increase its ability to cope with external shocks, to maintain multilateral stability, and to promote the global governance to further improve. In all, faced with the global challenges and also downward economy, China needs to explore new ways to further reform and also new model of economic development. I believe with your participation, we will achieve a very fruitful result in our reform, also in our forum. Thank you. Bank of China for 5 consecutive years have provided great support to our forum. Thank you again. Our next speaker is Wu Hailong, President of China Public Policy Diplomacy Association.
Distinguished guests. So first, on behalf of the China Public Diplomacy Association, and I'd like to extend my warm welcome and heartfelt gratitude to all of you. So your participation is the biggest support you have given to us. I'd also like to take this opportunity to appreciate the great efforts by CIRJ. So the theme of this forum is to grasp the opportunities and coping with challenges, just from the perspectives of China and the world. So I think that we want to grasp the opportunities of the China, and so we need to look at this theme just in a bigger picture. And now, when we look at the world, we can see that the world we're living now actually is totally different, just from the one that our predecessors have lived. And we could see a major readjustment of the international landscape and the readjustment of the international order. The world has shown many signs of the certainties accompanied with so many uncertainties. So for China, we must fully understand the profound changes in this world. We have to identify the relationships between China and the world, and uh, we need to use a we need to use a big vision to look at the international affairs. And the US now has identified China just as the strategic rivals and the biggest threat. So that is for certain. And just in the strategic security report by the US, the US just saying China as the biggest rival just in the geopolitical battle. So it says that the next 10 years will be very critical just for the for the strategic balance just in the regions. And we also have seen that the U.S. is very stubborn just in identifying China's role as such. And for China, we always strongly opposed to to define the U.S.-China relations just as a competition. And China's position is that both China wants to have a cooperative and coexistence principle with Europe and also with the US. And we hope to be the cooperative partners to the Western world. However, the US-led some US-led Western countries are determined to fight against China. So in this context, China really has no choice. And so what China has to do is that so we have to get rid of the illusion, and uh, we need to we need to be determined and confident just in the international competition with the US. However, competition does not necessarily mean conflicts, and it does not mean that there's no opportunity for cooperation. And the competition also allows uh, constructive cooperation. So we hope that we could see some more opportunities for cooperation, especially with our rivals. So China hopes to contain the conflicts as much as possible, and China wants to China wants to be self-reliant, just in the core in of the key technology just in those core industries. So China competes with the US. Just wanted to just wanted to uh, just wanted to develop its Chinese modernization. So we really so we think that a very sound and healthy economic cooperation is assumed to is assumed to have a positive impact on political relations. However, the facts have proved that actually the economic relations among nations could be US-China conflicts. Actually, it could be a very good example. We do believe that the conflicts actually would lead people nowhere. So, so we could see that just for the US, they prefer to have conflicts with China, even at the high cost of themselves. So this is not rational. And the Prime Minister of Germany said in the public that it is a big mistake to decouple with China. However, we could see that Germany and some European countries and the Americas and America actually are still making great efforts to be cooperation with China. And now the problem for those Western countries is that on one hand, they want to decouple with China. On the other hand, it is so hard for them to find a better player to replace China. So China's market is so huge and attractive and profitable. So that's why those countries still have to continue the economic activities with China. And now the winter is coming, and those countries have to purchase a lot of life necessities to fight against the winter. And only the Chinese only the Chinese products could satisfy their need. And the China Europe railways, so every day actually deliver such a large amount of Chinese products just to those countries. So we can see that it's not that those countries do not want to decouple with China. It is just that they cannot afford doing that. So what they want to do is to readjust the industrial chains and the supply chains in the world. So we could also see that they just try to cut the supply chain and the industrial chains. The US just wanted to just wanted to grab 75% of the battery production from China. So over the past period, we could see the US has launched a lot of measures to contain China. So in this context, China needs to be very sober, and we.
President Xi, over 140 countries and over 30 international organizations have signed the BRI cooperation with China. We have seen the early results in BRI. For instance, the China-Pac Economic Corridor, and also the China-Laos Railway, and also the first high-speed expressway in East Africa, and also the first cross-sea bridge in Maldives. And we also have seen the creation of a development agenda or initiative to align with the UN 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. In addition, President Xi in June this year have announced a number of major issues, including the creation of a Global Development Promotion Center by our agency, and also to hold the global another $1 billion into the Global Development South-South Cooperation Fund and provide 100,000 scholarships. So global development agenda or global development initiative from China has supported by over 100 countries, and as well as international organizations, including United Nations. And over 60 countries have joined the international effort in combating COVID-19 to contribute to the development of community of health of the world. We supplies at 153 countries and 15 international organizations, and we sent out medical experts teams to 34 countries, and we provide over 2.2 billion doses of a vaccine to over 100 countries. Went to airport to receive a donation from, and they thank China for providing timely support. Number 4, China has empowered technical assistance, human resource training, etc., have made great contributions to the common development of the whole world, especially for the developing countries. For the past 32 years, China has implemented thousands, trained over 400,000 people in developing countries. China and hybrid. So China's aid has supported the whole world and also shown its image as a responsible country. Dear friends, the Communist Party of China is a political party committed to promote foreign aid and international development cooperation. It is a concrete move of Communist Party of China in advancing the undertaking of the mankind, and it also explains the traditional culture of that of viewing the whole world as one family. President Xi has also put forward a number of new strategies, new concepts, and new measures to support China's international development, maintain the need for justice, mutual benefit, and right morality, and a balance between our own interest and the interest of the rest of the world. So all these principles have become the guidance for China's international development cooperation. Principle of extensive consultation, sovereignty, human rights, and their. So we also combine hard assistance with soft assistance, as well as mutually beneficial aid, and also based on the development strategies of the receiving countries, we try to achieve economic complementarity. We also emphasize human resource development, technical assistance, and humanitarian aid, etc. Development Cooperation Agency in 2000 National Party Congress that to narrow the gap between North and the South and to speed up the development of the developing countries. This international assistance will be guided by the Xi Jinping's thoughts on social development of a brighter future of the mankind. Number 1, we should carry forward the glorious tradition of international assistance. Over the past 70 years and more, we have helped worked with developing countries and helped each other. We have conveyed a good image of China, of helping the people in need, and we actually treat the recipient countries as equal entities. We also have contributed to the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Second, we should be more determined in international assistance. With the great changes in the world, we need to provide more effective and richer global public goods to the whole world. We should strengthen the effective of our aid and to provide the right tools to the recipient countries and to focus on sustainable development and to bring the role of comparative advantages into focus on South-South cooperation and focus on the post-COVID recovery, expand public health cooperation, as well as cooperation in biology, biodiversity, and agriculture and climate change. We understand that Hainan has been greatly engaged in international assistance. And also, CRD has recently set up the China ASEAN think tank network. We welcome such efforts. Number three, we should follow we of the recipient countries, living standards in the recipient countries. This will generate a better international environment for China's development. So this is a mutually beneficial process. Number four, we should jointly create a new pattern of international development cooperation. China should align with the UN 2030 SDG, and also we need to align with the vision of the recipient countries, as well as align the central and the local policies, the projects, funding sources. So let's work together to create a new chapter in the international development. Is Xia Deren, Vice Director of the Economic Committee of the CPPCC National Committee.
Distinguished guests and friends, I'm very happy to be invited to attend this important forum. So at the moment of the conclusion of the 20th Party Congress, so it is the right time for us to gather here to explore this complicated international situation. So we need to think about how could China would further deepen its reform and opening up, and how could China achieve its second centennial goals. So all these topics actually are worth our considerations. So I'd like to make the following points. So first, the Chinese modernization has positive impacts just upon the progress of the world. And now when we look at this turbulent world, so we can see that China, just as a most populous country, is embarking the new journey to its modernization. It aims to build the modern socialism just by the mid of the century. So this is a historic. Transformation just that will happen just to the human civilizations. And a modernization that is related to a country just with a 1.4 billion country. So this is a great contribution just to the progress of the world civilizations. And now in this world, so there are 30 the success of Chinese modernization actually will bring huge population just to the rank of a modernization. So to that end, the Chinese modernization will not committed to establishing a human community with a shared future, and we will remain to the peaceful development for modernization. So this actually will provide more. We can see that the Chinese model for modernization will be modernization. I think that if China could realize this ambitious goal, this would mean that the Chinese modernization would weak or even shake the old international order that is led by the Western countries. So this is not what the Western countries could accept. So naturally, China will be faced with more severe and daunting challenges. So actually, these challenges are not new to China ever since its accession into the WTO. And several years ago, there was a prevalence suggesting the theory about the China threat, China, and the US-led Western countries have used their advantages in economy, technology, finance, and the military could never allow China to realize the Chinese modernizations. They really wanted to maintain the old international order. So we have to be very clear about this situation. We should not have any expectations or any illusions just from those ill intentions. And third, The Chinese path to realization should also focus on comprehensively deepening its reform and opening up. And given this complicated international landscape, so only through deepened reform and opening up and external pressures, so China will remain to the market impediment. We should also strengthen strengthen the momentum for the economic growth and strengthen the government's capabilities to adjust the economy. In addition, we should also incentivize the enterprises and the technicians and experts to be innovative. And China needs to further strengthen its ability for independent innovation. So this is the effective strategy to break the blockade just from the Western countries. So opening up is the Western country want to contain China's development and the wider China needs to open its door to the outside world, and China is also in the social governance, and we need to learn from the advanced countries about the advanced technologies, and we need to further enhance the compatibilities between Chinese economy and the world economy, and we would further open up. And to conclude, I want to appreciate the invitation of the CIID. So previously, actually, I had many chances to attend the forums and seminars organized by the CIID, and every time when I came here, I could feel me so much. So I really have learned from those very insightful discussions and exchanges about the development. Had spent 30 years in creating CIID. CIID is 2 days. CIID will celebrate its 31st birthday. So happy birthday and best wishes for CIID just for making more contributions to China's opening up and reform. So thank you very much, Mr. Xia Deren. So many thanks for your great support for CIID. And now we're going to invite President Chi Fulin to deliver a themed speech. And you could see both the Chinese version and the English version just on the screen. And today, and he will sum up the main points during his themed speech.
Thank you. Dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I will share with you the primary importance. This is a categorical message sent out by China. The world in the next 10 years will be in a critical period of great changes and will be a new crossroads for globalization. Faced with the new situation, the new challenges, the 20th National Party Congress has made it clear that China will resolutely follow the Chinese path towards modernization, resolutely build a high-level socialist market economy, resolutely advance high-level opening up and development of the times. And this will provide an important contribution for China and also the whole world. I have 3 points to make. Number one, deepening reform is the biggest policy for China. We need to take actions to improve or boost the confidence of all parties. China is the biggest developing country and is still in a stage of economic transition. Unleashing its economic growth potential requires market vitality and advancing high-quality development by building a high-level socialist market economy. At present, due to the multiple shocks, we have a weaker confidence. This has become a big problem that has to be tackled. In the past 40 years or so, China's practice has proven very well that confidence mainly comes from reform. When there is resolute reforms, market will be more energetic and there will be more confidence. Since the third plenary session of the 18th CBC Central Committee, China has been deepening reform with great courage. This has boosted international confidence in China. China has also achieved a relatively fast economic growth. At present, to stabilize and enhance confidence of all parties requires structural restructuring and also new breakthroughs in deepening reform and opening up. We must adhere to the right direction and speed up the market-oriented reform and to boost the confidence and to make sure the market plays a decisive role in resources allocation. Second, we should stimulate the vitality of market entities by deepening market-oriented reform. China's economy has great potential. China has 1.4 billion people and more than 400 million middle incomers. In terms of the supply capacity, China has registered 160 million market players. Now, a major problem is that SMEs and the consumers have lesser confidence in the market, and that has constrained the release of the market potential. Since the start of reform and opening up, the market and businesses have been invigorated and increased the efficiency. It has already shown that stimulating market players is crucial to release of market potential. It has already been reaffirmed that China will uphold and improve the basic socialist economic system, consolidate the public sector, encourage, support the development of non-public sector. It will optimize the environment for private enterprises, protect their property rights and their rights and interests. It is also confirmed that China will promote entrepreneurial spirit and accelerate the construction of world-class enterprises. For that purpose, we must protect the property rights of private enterprises and to encourage the 160 million market entities to do business and to invest and to be motivated. Number three, we should optimize the environment with a focus on handling the relationship between the government and the market. The current weak market is not only the result of the external factors such as COVID-19, but also a result of a poor implementation of reform measures. We should introduce targeted measures to further optimize the government-market relationship. We should prevent the fragmentation of long-term strategies and also prevent the fallacy of synthesis. We should standardize and optimize the government regulation over economic operations. We should create a fair market competition environment and optimize the market order and establish a standard market regulation system. We should also oppose simplification and one-size-fits-all approach in order to create a better market environment. To implement the spirit of the 20th National Party Congress, we should achieve breakthroughs in market-oriented reform and to further stabilize the economy and promote economic growth. This is a precondition for China's high-quality development, but also a driving force for the already declining world economy. My second point is about the great potential of a structural transformation for development. We need to deepen structural reform. First, we can see great potential for structural transformation. Modernization is based on industrialization. The Chinese path to modernization shares common features of other countries' modernization, but also has its own features. Over the past 40 years or so, China has entered into the late stage of industrialization. In this period, China has its distinctive industrialization. However, we should also see the great potential in this process. In the next 10 to 20 years, this will be the greatest foundation for our future growth. We can see the consumption structure of the Chinese people generating driving forces for development. Therefore, we should meet people's ever-growing needs and restructure the economy and to deepen structural reforms. Therefore, we should carry out the dual circulation strategy with the domestic market as the mainstay. Second, deepening structural reform should be our main goal. China is a country in transition. It has already shown in the past that China's industrialization is a process of optimization of economic structure. Therefore, we need to properly balance the long-term and short-term goals, and also to properly balance demand and supply, industry and service development, economic growth and social development. Currently, China faces a lot of challenges in structural reform. To address such problems, we need to adjust our policies, but also breakthroughs in structural reform. On the one hand, we should stabilize the economy by adopting more flexible policies for economic transformation and social development. On the other hand, structural reform should be advanced to create powerful driving forces for medium and long-term economic growth. We should break the market and administrative monopoly and promote deep integration of modern services as well as advanced manufacturing. We should also upgrade the R&D system and deepen the reform of education and human resources management system to improve the mechanisms of business investment in R&D in order to enhance our competitiveness. Number three, the structural transformation of China is not only a major opportunity to China, but also to the whole world. Different growth models require different structures. Therefore, the structural reform will run through the whole process of modernization and will unleash great potential. In the next 10 to 15 years, structural reform will be will be carried out resolutely in order to support an annual 5% growth. The structural transformation of China will contribute a huge new demand to the global market. At the same time, it will contribute to a more balanced, diverse, and inclusive world economy. We have left a book in some of your rooms, which have summarized some of our past research. Actually, CRIT has proposed economic restructuring. These ideas are included in that book. In this year, we have also formed a task team to carry out research on for this year, which is entitled Structural Transformation, Crossing the Threshold of a High-Quality Development. This book was recently published by the China Workers Publishing House, and book launch will be held very shortly. The third point is that expanding opening up is an important condition for development. We must coordinate or balance development and the safety or security by advancing high-level opening up. First, we should promote high-quality development through high-level opening up. We should import high-quality goods and services from the whole world to unleash domestic demand. We should compel the reform to move ahead through opening up to better connect China with the rest of the world. China should be deeply integrated into the global division of labor and to have a higher level of interdependence. In the dual circulation strategy, we should fill the gap in our industrial system. As we know, market economy is an open economy. Allocating resources globally can optimize the efficiency and also promote the development of a global industry. For instance, the finished chip requires thousands of transactions and more than thousands of processes of production and more than 70 cross-border transactions. Huawei, for instance, is a highly international corporation. And the US has tried to use a chip to contain the curve of contain the development of China. This would be futile effort. It will not bring any benefit to a declining world economy. China is further opening up its industry. This will contribute to an ever-growing cake for the whole world. It will not only avoid a crowding out effect of industry and also for international cooperation. Second, expanding opening up should also place a focus on the trade in services. Currently, service trade has become a focus of a global free trade and also the focus of China. So we should steadily advance institutional opening up. For instance, in the area of health, education, information, culture, we should implement pre-establishment and the post-establishment national treatment and align with the market rules, talent standards, and development regulations of international advanced service industries, and to accelerate the integration of trade in services among the Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau, and forge a high ground for opening up in services and improve the international competitiveness of China's trade in producer services such as intellectual property rights and finance and also to participate in negotiations on global rules for service and digital trade rules to promote bilateral and multilateral cooperation in trade and services. Third, we should uphold a diversified and stable international economic structure. This is not only beneficial to China, but also to the whole world. China, in this way, can share its opportunities with the rest of the world. It will also contribute to the rebalancing of the global economy. Currently, China is taking firm steps to advance the RCEP process, which covers China and ASEAN, the two most vibrant economies in the world. So fully releasing RCEP's dividend will not only have a major impact on the regional economic integration, but also an important contribution to the world. To implement RCEP, we should coordinate the opening up and for instance, we should strengthen China-ASEAN comprehensive strategic partnership based on RCEP rules and build Hainan into an important hub for China-ASEAN comprehensive strategic cooperation. Within this year, we will have at least 3 more events to further study the role of Hainan in its connection with the ASEAN. On September 23rd this year, RCEP think tank network, jointly initiated by China Institute for Reform and Development and the East Asia Institute of the National University of Singapore, was officially launched together with 13 think tanks from 9 RCEP member countries. We welcome more think tanks from China and other RCEP member countries to join us to build up this open and shared cooperation network to provide intellectual support. Empty talks harms the country, while hard work will make a country thrive. At present, we face great complexity, which requires forward-looking thinking, overall planning, but more importantly, concrete efforts. 2 days from now, CRD will celebrate its 31st anniversary. Over the past 31 years, CRD has hosted, including this one, 88 international forums. So we usually we have this kind of a tradition to hold the forums on the weekends before CRD's birthday. So this is the 5th consecutive forum co-organized by CRD together with the Bank of China, China Daily, and China Public Diplomacy Association. We are very glad to see the 5th one, which is this one, coincides with the conclusion of the 20th National Party Congress. So this is a forum for us to study the spirit and the resolution of the 20th National Party Congress. I'm very glad to receive so much support from different circles. A lot of experts and the leaders have overcome all their difficulties in order to come to Hainan to attend this forum. I would like to express my sincere appreciations to their great effort to make a special trip to Hainan or to attend the forum online. Thank you very much. Our forum has also been greatly supported by the Hainan provincial government and also the Hainan Foreign Affairs Office, as well as experts here, and also Bank of China, and also some other sponsoring organizations. I'd like to thank you all for your support and also for your attendance. Thank you. Thank you, President Chi, for your speech. Dear guests, thank you for your participation. This is the end of the opening ceremony. For those in this meeting room, Please move out for a group photo. Our next session will start in 20 minutes.
This is the end of the opening ceremony. We now recess for photo and tea break of 20 minutes. Tea and coffee are provided in the lobby on the first floor. We shall come back for the plenary session at 10:20. Thank you.